Hey guys, I'm Bud Gaines. I'm the author of the fantasy series Aren Chronicles, and I'm going to be telling you a little bit about it today in this video. So Aren Chronicles is a fantasy series that started off as literally a one-page background information to start a roleplay back in 2012, 2011, something like that. It started off and it was just to get something else different going instead of doing what we were, which was basically felt like a combination of Star Wars roleplay and Dragon Ball Z roleplay and a little bit of Final Fantasy mixed into it. So anyway, Aren Chronicles started off with the first story called Sorcerer's Tome, which has now been changed because it didn't really fit now that I'm thinking about it. I just really like the title, and never once do we actually find that Sorcerer's Tome in the RP. But it's a very basic story, in the start at least, where they were after fighting. The sorcerer's been in charge for 100 years and running something called the Soul Vortex, and the Soul Vortex literally just sucks the spirits away after they die, and it's to power him up so that he can do what he thinks is necessary. And he's kind of been in charge for too long, and nobody really likes it, except for a smaller minority who are kind of loyal to him specifically. There's that portion of it. But the first story of Aren Chronicles is called Vortex of Souls now, and it's the same basic concept to it, and it follows a group of people from different areas in it called the Quadrants, and the Quadrants is a five major section island divided into pieces: desert, forest, a jungle, mountains, volcano area. We're doing it to give ourselves a different playgrounds to play in, something simple to start. It wasn't supposed to go on forever, but it turned out to be a really fun RP we did, and I decided it needed to be better, considering I wrote most of the stuff for it. Had some help from some friends playing characters, and a couple of the backgrounds. But most of the background information and the ideas that moved it forward came from me. Since then, I kind of took over everything for it, and I even offered stuff for characters and traded stuff for characters, and now all the characters who were in are pretty much under my control. So that's a plus. So I decided I was going to write a story about it, and it turned out it was going to be too long for one book, being 1,273 pages before I even added in a special thanks section. So I split that up, and it's going to be 4 or 5 parts. And the first part of that is behind me, but you can't see it because of the green screen. I just wanted the green background. That's it. It's called Quadrant 1. It's River Past the Journey to Junction, and it starts off the first story in the desert. So that's where that one starts. There is a prequel before it. It's called Prelude to Vortex of Souls, which tells you the backstory of 3 of our main characters, Amane, Kyra, and Toshiro. Toshiro and Amane are from the same area, Quadrant 3. Kyra's from Quadrant 2. Kyra is an elven princess who is a very good archer, because at the time, my girlfriend at the time was into that back then. I think she's still into it now, but she's not my girlfriend anymore. That's a different story. And so that's what she based her character on. My character is based on half samurai, half swordsman, half elemental, ability stuff. Everybody got elemental ability, so it's not just him, so don't worry about it. But I love swords, and I love katanas for one. I know I'm a massive weeb, I guess, right? It's not what I like. I just really like the shape of it, and I felt like it fit the character. Somebody who would use something a little bit more lightweight as opposed to using something heavy when they're already strong enough to wield something heavier. Gives them a little bit faster of an edge. Toshiro is the same, but they're from the same area. So it kind of just became, that area became a little samurai-ish. So that's where we went with that one. So we've got those guys, and I'm recording this today. It's 1:20. The date is 1:20. It's 10:11 at night. Today is the anniversary of the completion of that, and that's what that was about. So that's what I wanted to talk about today, just to get something out there. As I said, we have some main characters in this, and I'm reading parts of this from the thing because I have it written down somewhere. Amane Fuseshutsu is the character I created to begin with. He's a spiritual swordsman / samurai who is trained in harnessing his own spiritual power by his father, Fujimoto, and their clan style of training. In a tragic turn of events, a once welcome warrior was exiled for killing people who murdered his mother, and that's all in the prelude. And then he lost his friend and the respective soldiers he was fighting with, and he sets out to live by himself among the trees in the wilderness. He's our mainest main character. Everybody else is a main character. He's a slightly bit more of a main character than they are. And then Toshiro Shigekazu is my buddy buddy, Nick's character. He's a swordsman and chef trained by his father Toshin, and also an artist with a great skill in sketching. He was Amani's best friend during the time, and he's the one who turned on him. He kind of blames Amani for his father's death, since they were training to stop him, specifically, because somebody needed to do it, and Toshin didn't want him to, but he felt he needed to after what he saw. Rianne Tierney. I'm not sure how she pronounces it, but I'm just going to say Rianne. She is the princess of the Sacred Grove in Quadrant 2. She's an archer with very high speed. She can see further and she can hear further, and even the smallest amount of sound. She just recently turned 19. They're all around that age, except for one person. One or two people are all around that age. This is a group of teenagers coming together for the most part. So when they started off, we just kind of de-aged them a little bit so it flowed better. You know what I'm saying. I de-aged them a little bit so it flowed better into them growing up more. So when we meet Kyra, she's kind of dealing with people wanting to marry her and her father trying to marry her off. It's not good, but I thought it'd be funny and a good enough reason for her to leave and want to get out of there. Then we've got Kitani, who is not, she wasn't my character to begin with. She was Nick's girlfriend's character. And she was just, her character basically amounted to she was super in love with Nick's character, and that was pretty much it. Now, she still got that, but now she's good at she can make internal antidotes inside of her body from poison. And she's got light-based powers. She's a good healer. Like, that still stayed the same, but I needed something to do with her. Everybody kind of picked up healing along the way, so it's not just her. Don't worry about it. And then we got Teak Lamazki, who was my buddy Jared's character. He went by Silverwind then, more or less. This is his last name. Call him Teo in this story. He comes from another world called Drazteca. He is the chosen champion of his guardian deity, Quetzalcoatl. He leads his tribe and stuff, and he ends up in Aren after a portal was opened by his deity. And then we've got the bad guy, the sorcerer, with the worst name I could ever think of. Magical. MajICAL. He is the apprentice to the previous sorcerer and has taken over the role to prepare for the future. Unfortunately, he falls into a power-hungry type of guy, and for the next 100 years, he restarts the soul vortex to gain power, and it corrupts him. And they're going to stop him after all this time. But there's more to him than meets the eye. There's more than going on than him just being the bad guy for the story. He's got a prequel idea that I want to do, along with everybody else, it seems. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Aren Chronicles. I would like to start more of these videos going forward and coming up with more ideas to talk about. Something I just want to do, hoping maybe I do my own lore video, since I am the creator of the series and I make it that way, and I'm the one who says, hey, this is what's going on with it, instead of other people taking stuff from it if they ever read it and making their own stuff. They can always, theorize, but then there's always me who's just putting out the lore to begin with. I don't know, something to think about. I do want to do character stuff. I do want to talk about each of the characters separately and in their own videos, and the other sections of the story. There are two more sections of the story. There is Allfather's Bastion, which is sort of Norse related, and then there's Spellbound, which is kind of Final Fantasy III related. The ones with the job classes, where the job classes were introduced more or less, with the floating continent and Cloud of Darkness. That one. So there's some stuff I want to do still, and I think this is a good stopping point for now. I'm going to set this back up later, maybe do another video. Look forward to more content. If you have any ideas on how to help me get this out there more, besides doing more videos, let me know, because I'm struggling to find a way to do it. And yeah, I think that's going to be it. Thanks for sticking around and watching for this 12-ish minutes. Look, there are going to be more video recordings and readings and stuff like that. And I will see you guys in another video. Peace.